Gentlemen, get ready because we are going on the tone. Big boy racing. Slide forward. Okay. I was telling you to slide forward this morning. That first hit, we're going to have a big race. All right, first across the lines, David Arnold, followed by Chad and Rodney. Rodney Moses comes all the way up in the 6th spot and got to that number 3 spot already. Brad Powell drops down a spot. We got a long race, guys. There will be a lot of overturns. Drive your race. Drive your race. And the leaders will come back to you. Everybody is still on the same lead lap. Everybody is still fighting for the lead. But our TQ man, David Arnold, was still up front, followed by Chad, Brad Powell in that number 3 spot. Chuck Kinser's number 4. He's running strong. He is giving Brad Powell all he can handle through that infield section. He is battling for that number 3 spot right now. David Arnold's got a little bit of lead, but he is not within striking distance. He is still on the same lead lap. He is only about 3 seconds from the number 2 guy. Your current lineup right now is David, Chad, Brad, Chuck, Jody, Dylan, Rodney, Mike, Steven, and Rod Tutt. Rod Tutt on a mission to go from last to first. He is eating his way through that infield traffic. Good clean laps.
8 minutes left.
8 minutes to go. It's still David Arnold up front, followed by Brad, Chad, and Chuck. Brad, Chad, and Chuck are fighting for that number 2 spot. They are all 1.9 seconds apart from each other. The battle right now is for the number 2 and number 5 spot. You got 5 guys fighting for that 5 spot and 3 fighting for the 2 spot. Looks like Brad Powell has slipped past Chad, and they are battling for that number 2 spot. Coming over the double, David Arnold is cruising through the middle. He has been hooked all day long. He has been your TQ guy. He found the combination, and nobody else has been able to catch him. David Arnold's already coming up on lap traffic now through the infield. Your leader. Coming through the infield jumps and over the drop-off. He has got the iridescent colored truck with the black van. Coming over the back double. And over the front double and through the triple. Your leader, David Arnold. Followed by Brad Powell. Chuck Kinser has driven strong all day long. And the Pete Nichols designed low seat. Followed by Chad, who's dropped down to that number 4 spot. Dylan Latour's 5. Rod Tutt moved up into 6 from that last spot. Rodney Mull is 7. Jody is 8. Mike Simmons is 9. Steve Carter's 10. You guys still got well over 6 minutes to go. You got a long time and a lot of laps to put in. Drive your lines. Make up that time.
6 minutes left.
You got a battle right now between Chuck and Chad. Chad slipped past Chuck. And now he's taking over that number 3 spot. These guys are definitely serious about this race. There is a lot of chopping going on in this one. David Arnold, however, is cruising through the infield. Smooth lap. David Arnold's driving the Hobby Wing powered Kyosho.
5 minutes left.
Those Velvet Shocks are doing all they can do. Your leader gets hung up a little bit, but he's off the pipe and on his way. A little bit less than 5 minutes to go. These guys are still battling. It is still David Arnold out front, followed by Brad Powell. Dylan Latour has moved all the way up into that number 3 spot, followed by Chuck, Chad, Rod Tutt, Rodney, Jody, Steven, and Mike Simmons. The leader has about 11-second lap on the number 2 guy. It's a big lead, but it is not insurmountable. All it takes is one bobble by the leader. And your number 2 guy, Brad Powell, driving the fluorescent yellow truck with the black trim, coming through the infield. He's your number 2 guy. He's about 12 seconds now in front of the leader. It looks like David Arnold's picking up about a second a lap on the number 2 guy. Every time he goes around, he picks up a second. He's driven one smooth, consistent race. No real bobbles, no real issues. Driving his line. Nobody's caught him all day long. We will have posted on the website after this race the winning setup for the winning drivers for the prospective vehicles. Okay.
Three minutes left.
3 minutes to go, and it is still David, Brad Powell, Dylan, Chad, Chuck, Jody, and Tuck. There is a battle for that number 3 spot. It is a 2-second difference between 3 and 7. Right now, Dylan, Chad, Jody, Chuck, and Tuck are battling for that number 3 spot. They are about 2 seconds apart. And they've made up a bunch of time. They've gotten their lines together and cleaned the driving up. They're pulling back close to the lead. Still got David Arnold. He's out front. Running just a little bit smoother than everybody else. Fighting and navigating through lap traffic. It's like a minefield. Your leader coming through the infield. That's David Arnold.
2 minutes
in the
left.
iridescent colored truck with the black accent over the back tabletop. David definitely brought his A game today. He has been on since the first qualifier. I don't even think he changed his tires once today. We got about a minute and a half left. It's David out front, followed by Brad Powell, Dylan, Chad, Jody has moved all the way back up to that number 5 spot. Rod Tutt, 6. Rodney, Chuck, Steve, Mike. We got one on our lid, Mike Simmons. One minute left. Clean race for the most part. We got a minute left. And it's probably not going to come down to a race to the line. But it is a minute left for the battle for the number 2 spot. We got a minute for you guys to catch up with Brad Powell. Well, he's going to walk out of here with the hardware for that number 2 spot. Your leader hasn't checked out, but it's safe to say outside of braking, nobody's going to catch him. This has been a very, very tight race from 1 to 10. Everybody is in within 1.5 to 2 laps of each other. which is pretty darn good. Still David, Brad, Dylan, Chad Roberts has moved back up.
Car 10
Joey,
is done.
Mike Simmons, you're done. The race clock is over. Brad Powell secures number 2 just now. Rod Touch, you're finished.
Car 4 is done.
Steven, you're done.
Car 2 is
David
done.
Arnold,
Car 6
you're
is done.
done. Dylan, you're
Car
done.
5 is done. Car 1 is done.
David Arnold takes it 27 laps in 10:11, followed by Brad
Car 9
Powell,
is done.
26 laps in 10:05.